Streaming live now on News8000.com. You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dua Sharp.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is October 12th, 2023. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Happy pre-Friday. We're
Pre-Friday.
Almost
there. Almost at the end of the week, and things are kind of warming up.
A little bit.
Just a tad bit.
Just a tad bit, but we're going to go back in the 50s starting tomorrow. Yeah, so I mean, actually,
okay,
really
so
starting.
Scratch that.
Actually, really starting today, we're going to be back in the 50s. So it will be a little cooler than what we had yesterday.
Yes.
And more wet.
Yes.
So get ready for that.
Amazing.
Did you bring your umbrella today?
I didn't bring my umbrella, and I still need to buy boots.
Yeah, you might want to get on that. I don't wear the boots, but she's going to have to, so that's why I'm telling her.
You should wear boots, too.
Yeah.
The rain doesn't discriminate.
That's true, but I could just wear tennis shoes. Forget about it.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Don't they get wet, though?
Yeah, they do. But I mean, I could just change in the, studio or something like that.
That's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Just wear boots. We could get you nice cowboy boots.
But then I'm still going to have to
boots.
change, though, because otherwise you're going to drag wet into the studio and stuff.
No.
Wet feet.
No, wet feet.
All right, well, pack that umbrella and rain poncho and all that rain gear today. You're definitely going to need it as the day goes on. We are tracking lots of clouds right now that continue to move into the area. Notice the showers to the south. They're going to start to move in later today. Current temperatures in the 40s, 40 degrees in Eau Claire, 47 in La Crosse, 43 Winona, 41 is your temperature now in Sparta. The cold spot, Black River Falls, you're currently sitting at 36. Here's a check now on your planner. We start off cloudy and then slight chances of rain move in 9 o'clock. Those rain chances only increase as the day goes on today, with afternoon highs into the 50s and a bit of an east breeze at around 10 to 20 miles an hour. Those breezes also pick up, though, for tonight. Dog walking forecast not looking too good, so you might want to go ahead and walk them as much as possible here this morning before those showers start to move into this afternoon, and then especially as we head into the evening hours. Now, coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk about your full weather forecast. I'll also have a check on that schoolcast. We'll time out the rain showers here coming up a little bit later on in weather. Dua?
Thanks, Derek. Well, let's get to some news this morning. An 87-year-old man in Arcadia has died in a two-vehicle crash on I-90 late last night outside of Drybeck, Minnesota. According to a Minnesota State Patrol incident report, Donald Sukla of Arcadia was driving his Ford F-150 pickup truck eastbound on the interstate when he collided with a semi traveling in the westbound lanes. The driver of the semi was not injured in the crash. Both drivers were wearing seatbelts and were not under the influence of alcohol at the time of the crash. We will have more information on this story as we receive it. Town of Campbell Supervisor Lee Donahue says a Republican bill about PFAS doesn't cut it. Donahue says the bill weakens the DNR's ability to hold groups accountable when spills happen. The bill creates grants for communities with contamination, lower costs for PFAS testing, and expanding the well compensation grant program. But Donahue says these updates will force small communities like Campbell to compete with commercial properties for funding. The cost of the bill isn't written, but the budget writing committee this summer set aside $125 million to address PFAS. A vote on the bill could happen next week. Belligerent, offensive, and inappropriate. That's how Democrats are criticizing Wisconsin's 3rd District Congressman over an outburst. According to Politico, Derek Van Orden cursed at White House staffers during a briefing on the attacks in Israel. Van Orden reportedly shouted the presentation was, quote, pathetic. Then when Minnesota Democrat Dean Phillips, who is Jewish, replied, "Shame on you," Van Orden dropped an F-bomb toward him. Van Orden's office sent us a statement that reads, quote, "For 5 days we have listened to the Biden administration minimize the role Iran played in the terrorist attack on Israel. They have dismissed the threat of Hezbollah joining Hamas in this war, and they refuse to acknowledge the role of our government's $6 billion deal last month had financing it all." Democrats are free to continue making excuses for Joe Biden as they've done for the last 3 years, but I won't be joining them in defending their weak foreign policy stances. Van Orden seems to say that the U.S. had a role in funding Hamas's attack on Israel. He's referring to the $6 billion in Iranian oil assets the U.S. unfroze in exchange for a swap of 5 U.S. citizens. PolitiFact reports that the $6 billion is sitting in Qatar's central bank, and Iran has not accessed the account. The agreement says Iran can only use that money for humanitarian items, but other White House critics do point out that part of the deal would be hard to enforce. A La Crosse County Police Committee has made several recommendations to improve policing in La Crosse. News 8 Now's Jeremy Walls spoke with committee members about what the new board would do to help concerned citizens.
After a nearly 2-year study, the La Crosse Police Committee is recommending the county's Judiciary and Law Committee have a civilian review board in our communities. The board would serve as an advocate or liaison, helping community members that want to seek out or file a complaint with a police department.
Some people don't understand the process or know the process on how to contact the police department or what is the right avenue to file a complaint. And so this review board can meet with these people and listen to their concerns.
The committee spent 18 months working with La Crosse Police Chief Sean Coudron and Jeff Wolf from the La Crosse County Sheriff's Office, deciding if suggesting the board was necessary.
They felt that there should be some type of curriculum put together by a group yet to be determined that kind of details some of the history of policing and some of the discrimination or biases that occurred throughout time.
It's also recommending more training for police officers by giving them a little history lesson.
They gave us a La Crosse County Policing 101, the Police and Fire Commission, the city and county mental health co-response team. We spoke to the district attorney.
If the review board passes, Ashbeck says his focus would also be making sure there's a good relationship between the board and the department.
My goal is to build a trusting relationship with this review board through transparency, that then this review board can come to us and we can meet and discuss about the alleged complaint or situation and work through whatever differences or whatever the complaint is.
According to Ashbeck, the Citizens Review Board is in 300 communities nationwide and has been helping them out for more than 15 years. The Judiciary and Law Committee still needs to discuss the Citizen Review Board. If it approved, it would go to the full county board for a vote. $500,000 in grants has been awarded to child care providers in La Crosse County. 37 child care providers were awarded grants ranging from roughly $1,500 to $22,000. La Crosse County provided the funds from its ARPA allocation. The grants will go toward various capital projects like adding outdoor play equipment and covering liability insurance. The grants are also helping expand access to child care. As a result of the grants, another 21 new child care slots will be open in the county. Last night, Western Technical College hosted its biannual open house. The La Crosse, Viroqua, Tomah, Independence, Mauston, and Black River Falls campuses all held open houses. The event served as an opportunity to connect prospective students with faculty and resources. The school's outreach and admissions manager says the open house is not just for high school students looking ahead.
We welcome anyone who'd like to come down and learn more about Western. That could look like a high school student coming straight to us from high school. It could look like an adult student who hasn't been to college before. It could also look like an adult student who might be coming to us to do some upskilling.
Western waived its $30 application fee for the event. That meant attendees could apply to the school for free. Western's next open house is scheduled for March. The results are in for this year's Lubathon. Dahl Automotive presented a check for roughly $40,500 to the Family and Children's Center. The Lubathon raised money throughout the month of September. Dahl donates $5 from every oil change they perform, and guests have the opportunity to match that donation. Oil changes at Dahl are also discounted an extra $5 during Lubathon. This September, Dahl did over 3,000 oil changes, which led to this year's record-breaking donation. The Family and Children's Center president says a donation like this shows the heart of the community.
It feels like people care and that they understand that there's a need in the community and a need that we all have to come together, and a need that if we do come together, these programs will continue to help the families.
FCC will use the donation to support their child abuse prevention programs. The Sandbar Storytelling Festival kicks off tonight at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum in Winona. The weekend-long festival will host a few workshops, concerts, and storytelling performances around Winona tonight. Cal Kaliaong will be performing water stories at Gallery 5 of the Minnesota Marine Art Museum from 7 to 8 tonight. Tickets for tonight's events are $25 per person and can be purchased on the festival's website. Well, still ahead on your morning news, more Ford workers have gone on strike in Kentucky. We'll have the details about the new strike after the break. And if you're looking for a new or used vehicle and want to save money, you may have to go for an electric car. We'll take a closer look at a new proposed federal tax credit, as well as what vehicles would be included. That and more is coming up this morning, but for now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. If you have enough food to eat, thank a farmer today. That's because Thursday, October 12 is National Farmers Day. It's a time to appreciate the important work farmers do to keep food on our tables. Here in the Badger State, honoring farmers is especially fitting. According to the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, farmers contribute $104.8 billion to the state's economy annually. They also provide 435,000 jobs. Wisconsin is the nation's largest producer of cheese, cranberries, snap beans, goat milk, and ginseng. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is after the break.
Things are turning a little on the cloudy side now, and we're going to start to tap into some of those rain showers later today. In fact, you can see some of the showers positioned down to the south, only moving in our general direction now. Your zone forecast for today, we'll be looking at high temperatures reaching the mid-50s in La Crosse County, 55 in West Salem, 54 today in Bangor, and 55 in Manduro. Heading south now into our southern communities, we'll be at 53 with showers likely today in Lansing. Stoddard, you're looking at highs around 54 degrees and 56 in La Crescent, 55 today in Arcadia, and a high of 57 in Alma Center, 56 degrees today in Whitehall. Heading north into the Chippewa Valley, upper 50s today here with 59 degrees expected with showers likely in Eau Claire this afternoon. Bus stop forecast here today showing that temperatures will be at 48 degrees with cloudy skies, and on the way back home, you're definitely going to need to pack that umbrella and rain poncho with you. Keep the rain gear handy here after you get off the bus because we will be looking at rain showers likely with temperatures at 55 degrees. Now I'll have a check on your full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes, and I'll time out these rain showers as they move through the area today.
In your consumer news this morning, in a surprise move, the United Auto Workers have expanded their strike against Ford. The union instructed nearly 9,000 workers to walk off the job at a plant in Kentucky. It's Ford's biggest plant, producing the popular F-Series truck, among other vehicles. The bold action comes without warning, taking both Ford executives and industry analysis by surprise. The ongoing strike began on September 15. The Federal Reserve looks set to raise the interest rate again. An increase is deemed appropriate by the majority of Fed officials, according to records from the group's September meeting. However, Fed insiders caution that it depends on how inflation continues to respond to the 11 rate hikes since March 2022. Financial markets expect the raise to come in December. The key lending rate, which stands at a 22-year high, remains steady. If you're looking for a new car, electric vehicle may be a little cheaper in the long run. That's because of a new proposed federal tax incentive rule. Jen Sullivan takes a closer look at what is now offered under the new incentives and what cars are included.
Driving off the lot in an electric car could soon get easier and cheaper. The Treasury Department is proposing a rule that would allow car buyers to get a tax credit of up to $7,500 for new electric vehicles and a credit of up to $4,000 for used EVs straight off the lot.
We're all in for EVs, and dealers are essential to making that transition a success.
Under the new rule, all eligible consumers, no matter their federal tax liability, would get a full tax discount up front and instantly from car dealers starting in 2024 instead of waiting for next year's tax season. Right now, that's not the case. Consumers whose tax liability is too low may get a reduced credit or not qualify at all. Energy experts say the move would benefit low and middle income drivers who may now have a chance to buy a car, but say more needs to be done to make EVs more accessible.
To make everyone benefit from electric cars, we will need more incentives, more infrastructure.
To be eligible for tax credits, buyers would have to meet the individual requirements, including using the purchased electric vehicle for personal use, not being dependent on anyone's taxes, and being under the income limit. It comes as the Biden administration aims to drive up electric car production in the U.S.
What do you think, Mr. President?
I like it. Back in August, the Energy Department announced $12 billion in grants and loans to ensure 2/3 of all new cars sold in the U.S. by 2032 are electric.
Some states like Colorado or California may also offer other rebates when buying electric vehicles. Well, that's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Derek and get today's forecast.
All right, thanks so much for that, Dua. Starting off on a dry note here this morning, but that's going to quickly change, though, as the day goes on. It's currently 47 degrees now in La Crosse with light east-northeast winds at 5 miles an hour. In Eau Claire, a little on the cooler side. Temperatures here for you currently at 40, northeast winds at 8 miles an hour. You can see those cloudy skies now pushing their way into the Coulee region, looking at some showers just positioned off to the south, and this is all associated with this very strong, potent low-pressure system back to the west over the Central Plains. And this system is moving into our general direction now, so that's why we're starting to tap into the cloud cover, and the showers are not too far away, positioned down to the south of us, just north of this nearly stationary frontal boundary. But again, as the day goes on, we're going to start to tap into some of those showers, especially around noon, 53 the temperature, and then we're looking at rain likely with temperatures at 54 degrees at 4. It will still be raining by 8 o'clock this evening too, by the way. Temperatures at around 51 degrees. So we'll time it out on Sky Tracker. Here come the showers, positioned just off to the west by 10 o'clock. Now heading into this afternoon, that's when I do think that we will be looking at some showers moving in across the area especially, and they could also turn heavy at times as well as they move through. Heavy rain is still a possibility as we head into tonight, especially the further north you are. And then I think everybody by tomorrow morning, especially by that morning commute hour, is going to be dealing with at least moderate to heavy downpours moving in across the area. So just be aware that you might want to give yourself some extra time. And really throughout the day tomorrow, things are still going to be looking pretty wet as this low pressure system continues to move through. Now, as we take you into tomorrow night, I'm still expecting some widespread rain showers. I think it won't be as heavy by tomorrow night, but it could still linger at least through Saturday, which is why I'm thinking that our rainfall totals are going to be pretty high around here. In fact, this is going from today through Saturday night, and we could be looking at anywhere between 1 to 2 inches, with localized higher amounts also possible in some of those heavier showers that could move through. I think the heavier totals are still going to be well to the west of us over portions of central and western Minnesota, but I think here on us in the Coulee region, we're still going to be looking at quite a bit with those 1 to 2 inches, again, plus totals also possible. A check on your 8-day forecast showing that we'll keep those rain chances through at least early on the day on Saturday, and then after that, I think by Sunday we'll start to dry out. Skies still looking partly to mostly cloudy Sunday and also into next week with high temperatures mainly into the 50s, and our low temperatures will be mainly into the 40s. Don't forget to, you can also download our free First Warn weather app on the Google Play or the Apple App Store. You get all those weather alerts plus hourly forecasts and your 8-day forecasts right there on your fingertips. You can also sign up for push alerts in case any watches or warnings may go into effect as well. All right, stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. For now, we're sending you a break with a look what happened on this day in history for October 12th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Blitz. It's hard to find a team hotter than the Winona Cotter boys soccer team. The Ramblers have just one loss on the season. That earned the boys the #1 overall seed in the Class 1A sectionals. Girls won their match earlier yesterday. Boys looking to do the same. Let's go to St. Mary's. Cotter taking on Red Wing in the quarterfinals. A lot of chances for the Ramblers in the first half. They finally break through. 24 minutes in, it's Yuri Vitaliano finding the back of the net. Cotter strikes first. Ramblers take a 1-0 lead, but Red Wing responds. Less than 10 minutes to go now in the first half. Great lead pass for Thomas Lampkin. It's a foot race all the way to the net. Lampkin wins it. He finds the twine. Just like that, Wingers get the equalizer, tie the game at 1, but Cotter comes right back. Roberto Perez, great touch pass here, hits a defender, and Elliot Fitzgerald in the right place at the right time. He kicks it home. Ramblers regain the lead. Cotter was even hotter in the second half. 5 goals for the Ramblers after the break. They go on to win it big 7-1 the final as Cotter advances to the section semifinals. Staying in Section 1A, it was a great year for the Lancers, but unfortunately, their season comes to an end in the quarterfinal round. La Crescent Hoka falls short 4-2 against Rochester Lords. As for the La Crescent Hoka girls, a heartbreaking loss in their quarterfinal matchup. This one was tied at 1 after 2 overtimes, but Dover Iota wins it 5-4 on penalty kicks. The Viterbo volleyball team is rolling. V-Hawks winning their 4th straight match. They get the sweep over Waldorf to improve their overall record to 20-3 on the season. They're 7-0 in conference play. As for the UWL volleyball team, the Eagles fall to 0-4 in conference play. UWL comes up short at home against River Falls, 3-1. Eagles are off until next Friday when they take on UW-Eau Claire. Well, it's do or die for the Twins. Minnesota fell in Game 3 on Tuesday night. Astros now just 1 win away from heading to their 7th straight ALCS. Twins trying to tie the series up and force a Game 5 on Friday. Let's go to Target Field. Must win for the Twins. It's the rookie coming up clutch again. Royce Lewis has been rolling bottom 1. He puts the home team on the board. Solo shot puts Minnesota up 1. Top 2 now. Astros answer back. Michael Brantley cranks one out to right field. That's hit deep. It's going to clear the fence for a solo blast. Brantley ties the game at 1. Then in the 4th, 1 on for Jose Abreu, and the big man comes up big again for his squad. Abreu cracks one to right center. That's going to put Houston up 2. It's 3-1. Bottom 6 now. Twins trying to get back in it. Edward Julian gets a hold of this one high and deep the other way. Cuts the deficit in half. Julian makes it a 1-run game, but that's as close as the Twins would get. Ryan Presley shuts the door in the 9th. Astros advance to their 7th straight championship series. Twins come up a run short in Game 4 as their season comes to an end, 3-2 the final in Game 4. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
At least 2,400 are confirmed dead in Israel and Gaza as more airstrikes shook the region this morning. That, as the White House now says, at least 22 Americans are among the dead, and officials warn that number could continue to climb. President Biden says he spoke to Israel's prime minister again yesterday, with the nation's top diplomat also set to hold meetings there today. CBS News correspondent Chanel Call has the latest on the conflict from New York.
6 days since the surprise attack from Hamas militants, Israel continues striking Gaza. Around 300,000 Israeli troops are now positioned near the Gaza Strip, among them reservists mobilized from countries around the world, including the U.S.
We just want to go back, bring the peace as soon as possible.
Overnight, Gaza was thrown into darkness after the region's only power plant ran out of fuel. Hospitals there now relying on generators, with the humanitarian crisis growing. Yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to wipe Hamas off the map. He and his top political rival have now formed an emergency wartime cabinet.
Silence is complicity.
At a White House roundtable with Jewish leaders, President Biden said he issued a warning to Iran, which has given money and weapons to Hamas for years.
Made it clear to the Iranians, be careful.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is now on the ground in Israel to discuss further military assistance and the hostage situation.
The State Department has issued an advisory warning Americans not to travel to Israel. Meanwhile, this morning, former President Donald Trump is facing backlash from members of his own party after he criticized the Israeli intelligence for failing to stop the Hamas attacks at a Florida campaign event yesterday. Wisconsin health officials say that syphilis is on the rise. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services has issued a memo to all healthcare providers asking for increased awareness and testing for syphilis. Congenital syphilis increased by 81% from 2021 to 2022. Gunderson Health System's infection preventionist Megan Meller says that late stages of syphilis can be life-altering.
And then if it continues to go untreated beyond that, it can develop into tertiary or late stages, and that's where you'll see more of the impacts on the nervous system. So like and those more extreme, or serious consequences on the body.
Mueller says that the La Crosse syphilis data will be released in a few months. Another former Wisconsin Supreme Court justice is telling Republicans not to impeach the court's newest liberal justice. Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Vos has put together a panel of 3 former justices to investigate impeaching Justice Janet Protasiewicz. Now, one member of the panel, Justice John Wilcox, has advised Vos not to pursue impeachment, saying there's nothing to justify it. Earlier this week, it came out that another panel member, former Justice David Prosser, was also against impeachment. It's still unknown what stance the third member of the panel, former Justice Patience Roggensack, has had toward impeachment. Vos floated the idea of impeaching Protasiewicz if she did not recuse herself from a redistricting lawsuit. Protasiewicz on Friday declined to recuse herself from the case after the court voted along partisan lines to hear the lawsuit. Child care talks are once again center stage at Wisconsin's Capitol. A Senate committee has put Governor Tony Evers' workforce development bill up for a public hearing. The Committee on Economic Development and Technical Colleges invited child care providers to voice their support for Child Care Counts. It's a program that used federal pandemic dollars to support child care providers. Right now, that program is set to end in January, and Evers' bill calls for $340 million in state money to keep it going. One Republican senator asked a provider why instead of child care counts, they just keep charging their clients more.
You can't just continue to raise rates and ask parents to continue to give them more of your paycheck, because then they have to decide between paying childcare or leaving the workforce entirely to stay home with children, and then we lose people in the workforce.
Evers' bill also includes implementing paid family leave and investments into UW campuses. The Republican senator leading this committee says the bill will probably be amended, but there are some good things in there. Now here's Derek to tell us what to expect for our morning commute.
All right, thanks so much for that, Duo. We're starting to see the clouds increase across the Coulee region now, associated with a pretty strong storm system that's going to be giving us some rain showers for us to work with today. You can see the rain here positioned over Iowa, and all that is moving into our general direction. Therefore, our rain chances will only increase throughout the day, especially between the hours of 4 to 6 p.m. this afternoon. I'm expecting 80 to 90% odds of rain chances moving into the area. 56 today with showers likely, heavy at times as well. East winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Heading into tonight, temperatures at 49. Rain is still likely with windy conditions. East winds at around 20 to 30 miles per hour. So those winds pick up, gusts up to 40 also possible. Check on your mowing forecast. Probably not the best day to do so. If you have to mow today, do it early before the rain here arrives, because as you can see, it's going to be pretty wet here throughout the afternoon with temperatures well into the 50s. I'll have a final check on that full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Well, before we head to break, it's time for today's Look Who's 8, and we only have one birthday today.
Yeah, it's to Emery, who turns 8. She loves slime, Louie, gymnastics, and her cat, Billy.
Well, if you know a special someone turning 8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button underneath the home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We'll have the director of the Thin Place in studio to talk about their upcoming show at the La Crosse Pump House.
Things are off to a quiet start right now, but that is going to change, though, as we're expecting some pretty wet conditions to move in later today. Temperatures right now in La Crosse are currently sitting at 47 degrees with a light east-northeast wind at around 5 miles an hour. Right now in Eau Claire, you're a little on the cooler side, though. Your current temperature is sitting at 40 degrees with northeast winds at around 8 miles an hour. Look at all the cloud cover now beginning to move in across the Coulee region from the south, and you can see some rain showers not too far away. Those showers that you see there on the radar picture to our south will only continue to move in our general direction out ahead of the stationary frontal boundary, which is all associated with this very strong and potent storm system, this low pressure system that is currently positioned along the central United States. And all of this activity is moving in our general direction, which will only help increase our moisture and therefore leading to very wet and soggy conditions later today. In fact, you'll see it here on the day planner. We start off on the cloudy side at 7 o'clock with temperatures at 48, and then those showers start to move in here at noon. 53, the temperature temperature there. Rain is very likely at around 4 o'clock, 54 the temperature, and by 8 o'clock, 51 degrees, with rain still likely to occur in many spots, if not everyone, looking at those rain showers throughout the day in general. But you can see on Sky Tracker showing those rain showers starting to move in here. And then as we head into this afternoon, that's when I think that a lot of us are going to be dealing with the rain here. And some of the rain may even turn heavy at times as this low pressure system continues to move in our general direction, pumping in a lot of rainy conditions across the area, especially as we head into tonight. That's when I do think a lot of us will be dealing with some heavy rain, and that heavy rain, by the way, may even linger tomorrow morning into your morning commute. So you want to give yourself some extra time on the roadways, because things are definitely going to be turning wet, which could cause some concerns here on the roadways here throughout the morning hours tomorrow. We will still be looking at some wet conditions lingering as we head into tomorrow afternoon. We start to see things begin to settle down maybe a little bit by tomorrow night, but I do think a lot of us, though, will be dealing with some rain showers that will continue to linger into tomorrow night. Just the difference is it may not be as heavy, though, and some of those showers may even linger into Saturday, which is why our rainfall totals are looking pretty high around here, anywhere between around 1 to 2 inches, with locally higher amounts between today through Saturday night is definitely possible. I do think a lot of the heavier totals are going to be positioned well to our west, but we will still be looking at our fair share of seeing significant rainfall totals around here, it looks like, through at least, again, on a Saturday night. So you want to make sure that you have a plan in place, because it does look like things could get a little spoiled here as far as our evening plans here, if you will, especially for Friday and Saturday. But here's a check on your 8-day forecast, and you can see that we will keep those rain chances in play through at least Saturday. And then after that, I think we'll turn much drier by Sunday, and those drier conditions with partly to mostly cloudy skies will linger as we head into next week, with high temperatures mainly in the 50s and lows mainly in the 40s.
Well, this morning we have director Colin Thielen from The Thin Place to talk to us about their upcoming performances this weekend. Now, Colin, you mentioned that you started this company in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, we were all kind of stuck at home. You know, this was this time when none of us could get together and do this thing that we all love to do, which is create theater together. So a group of us who had worked together collectively in the town maybe 10 years before that, really, we were all kind of alumni from Viterbo and UWL, kind of formed this, this company to be able to produce things that you don't typically see in La Crosse, that you're not going to see at either of the universities or at the community theater.
Yeah. So what would you say that the Thin Place is all about?
Well, so The Thin Place itself is a show about two women, Hilda and Linda, and it's a story about their relationship from really its beginning until its end. And both of them kind of have this ability to connect with the spirit world, kind of in different ways. And really the show is about how they do that, and how we as people tend to scare ourselves almost, like we have this ability to have things creep into your mind and you're not sure how they got there, whether that's an idea that you had yourself or maybe that was planted by someone else or something else.
Have you ever had that experience, Derek?
Probably, I'm sure.
Have you?
It's tricky, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to know. This is this kind of roller coaster ride that Lucas Nath, the playwright, has developed, where he kind of sends us on this jostling journey through this haunted house almost type atmosphere, right? It's like this feeling of like when you were a little kid and you were scared to go to the bathroom because it's dark in the hallway and you're not sure when you go out of your room.
Now that I've had as a kid.
What you'll see down at the end of the hallway or what you won't see.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so did you choose this specifically because, you know, it's October, spooky season?
Yeah, oh, of course. I mean, you know, we like to correlate things like that for sure. I mean, I think ultimately a lot of the shows that we're trying to do and produce as Gray Area is shows that challenge people, that aren't just about entertainment. Some of it's about like coming and having an introspective experience, and this show does that whilst it's still kind of just a horror play, a scary play. There's some deeper questions in there about why we process fear the way we do, and how these things interact with each other, and really at the end of the day, like how our connections shape those things, right? Why these people have come together at that particular moment in their lives and what they can offer to each other.
So would you say that this play is family friendly or just geared to a specific age group?
I think that Ultimately, I'd say teens and above, probably for this one.
Yeah.
It is a little bit on the scarier side. I don't think it's going to give people too many nightmares, but hopefully it's something that post is still causing a lot of questions in the car ride home.
Well, Derek, you're a fan of like spooky stories and horror movies, right? I feel like we've talked about this on the morning show quite a bit.
Yeah. I do
That's
like
great.
a little bit of it. So maybe this is something I could check out,
please do. Yeah, I mean, we all kind of have this. It's fun to be scared when you know that you're not in real danger. Right?
Yes,
and
yes,
so
absolutely.
this is something that I think would
especially
be right up your alley.
Yeah, and especially this time of the year too.
Yeah.
We've got Halloween coming up, and people are decorating their homes. So yeah.
Even if you're not a fan of spooky things, you kind of lean towards them in this time of season.
This season for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So how much are the tickets, and where can people get them?
So if you go down to the Pump House in person, you can get them in person down at the Pump House. You can also go to their website, which is www.thepumphouse.org. If you go to their Performing Arts tab and just scroll down, you'll see the little icon for our show. General admission prices are $20. If you're a Pump House member and you're hearing this, you can get a ticket for $15.
Okay.
Student and military discount is a $10 ticket. So if you have a student ID or a military ID, it's only a $10 ticket. We also have our first performance. Part of what we're trying to do is be more accessible to the community. Sometimes it's tricky if you're bringing 4 people out to a play, it can get steep, right?
Sure.
So our first performance on Thursday the 19th is a free donation-based preview performance for people to be able to come that night as well.
All right. And, what was your reaction when you first read the script and kind of why you wanted to give it to La Crosse community members?
Yeah, for sure. So all of the scripts that we've done, all of the plays that we've done so far, that's where you start, right? The basis, if you know that main ingredient and the base of it and the writing itself jumps off the page and you can almost see it come to life just through reading it, then you know you have a good script in your hand. And this play does that. Just right off the bat, there's so many twists and turns and it engages you right away and it kind of sucks you in. There's some non-traditional things. If you're used to going to theater, things don't always unfold in this play the way you would think they would. There's magic. There's like real magic, there's like mental, people talk about theater magic, but this show actually has real magic. There's mentalism, there's other things that happen. So
you feel kind of connected in a way?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to us about this. Definitely looking forward to this spooky, mentally challenging, and magical play.
Never know. Dua might show. Me and Dua might show up.
Yeah.
You should. I will be excited to see you guys. I'll be there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool.
We'll be right back.
Of course.
In your morning news now, an 87-year-old Arcadia man died in a 2-vehicle crash on I-90 late last night outside of Dry Bottom, Minnesota. According to a Minnesota State Patrol incident report, Donald Sukla was driving his Ford F-150 pickup truck eastbound on the interstate when he collided with a semi traveling in the westbound lanes. The driver of the semi was not injured in the crash. Both drivers were wearing seatbelts and were not under the influence of alcohol at the time of the crash. Wisconsin health officials say that syphilis is on the rise. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services has issued a memo to all healthcare providers asking for increased awareness and testing for syphilis. Congenital syphilis increased by 81% from 2021 to 2022. Gunderson Health Systems infection preventionist Megan Meller says that the late stages of syphilis can be life-altering.
And then if it continues to go untreated beyond that, it can develop into tertiary or late stages, and that's where you'll see more of the impacts on the nervous system. So like and those more extreme, serious consequences on the body.
Meller says that the La Crosse syphilis data will be released in a few months. Town of Campbell Supervisor Lee Donahue says a Republican bill about PFAS still doesn't cut it. Donahue says the bill weakens the DNR's ability to hold groups accountable when spills happen. The bill creates grants for communities with contamination, lower costs for PFAS testing, and expand the well compensation grant program. But Donahue says these updates will force small communities like Campbell to compete with commercial properties for funding. The cost of the bill isn't written, but the Budget Writing Committee this summer set aside $125 million to address PFAS. A vote on the bill could happen next week. $500,000 in grants has been awarded to child care providers in La Crosse County. 37 child care providers were awarded grants ranging from $1,500 to $22,000. La Crosse County provided the funds from its ARPA allocation. The grants will go toward various capital projects like adding outdoor play equipment and covering liability insurance. The grants also help expand access to child care. As a result of the grants, another 21 new child care slots will be open in the county. The results are in for this year's Lubathon. Dahl Automotive presented a check for roughly $40,500 to the Family and Children's Center. The Lubathon raised money throughout the month of September. Dahl donates $5 from every oil change they perform, and guests have the opportunity to match that donation. Oil changes at Dahl are also discounted an extra $5 during Lubathon. This September, Dahl did over 3,000 oil changes, which led to this year's record-breaking donation. The Family and Children's Center president says a donation like this shows the heart of the community.
It feels like people care and that they understand that there's a need in the community and a need that we all have to come together, and a need that if we do come together, these programs will continue to help the families.
FCC will use the donation to support their child abuse prevention programs. The Sandbar Storytelling Festival kicks off tonight at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum in Winona. The weekend-long festival will host a few workshops, concerts, and storytelling performances around Winona. Kaukalia Yang will be performing water stories at Gallery 5 of the Minnesota Marine Art Museum from 7 to 8 tonight. Tickets for the event are $25 per person and can be purchased on the festival's website.
And get ready for a pretty wet and soggy day today. We're going to be looking at lots of rain moving in, especially this afternoon and continuing on into tonight. High temperatures will be into the 50s, so a little cool out there and breezy. East winds at around 10 to 20 miles an hour. A check on your 8-day forecast showing that we will be looking at good rain chances into the day tomorrow as well. We'll start to see the rain taper here by Saturday, but then by Sunday we're much drier, and those dry, partly to mostly cloudy conditions continue as we head into next week, with highs mainly in the 50s and lows mainly in the 40s. So yeah, pack that rain gear here today. I think we'll need it.
The rain makes the leaves off of the trees fall down faster, but I was really hoping that the colors would be a little bit more brighter this year. I feel like they weren't.
Yeah, probably because we're in that drought.
Okay.
You know, so if we had a little bit more rain, it probably would be a little bit more colorful.
Brighter.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. So.
See, it helps sitting next to a meteorologist. I'm like, Derek, why aren't the leaves pretty to this year?
I know, blame it on the rainfall deficit, but you know, I'm curious to see what our drought monitor will be for next week after we get that new update in for next Thursday after this rain moves through. Hopefully we'll see some much better improvements there. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
There are definitely, if you drive down Sparta, Toma, the leaves are definitely a bit brighter there.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's where you would want to be if you want to take some pictures of being around there.
Yeah. Well, don't forget to keep up with news of the day on news8000.com. We'll see you back here later today on News 8 Now at noon. Have a wonderful Thursday.